disappoint me, Garrosh. You are not worthy of your father's legacy.
Hello again, all this EATMOPIE, and this video is regarding a crisis that we're currently experiencing in patch 5.4. What's that, EATMOPIE? Well, what it is a significant decline in tank participation across the board, but especially in looking for raid. Now, there's been blue posts about it, even Ghostcrawler tweeted about it this week, that there's a lack of tanks. There are more tank specs in the game right now than ever before, so that's why this kind of blew my mind. But then I thought back, just a few weeks ago, I experienced this. I was queuing as a DPS because I was afraid to tank. I didn't know if I had the gear. I didn't know the fights. I was intimidated by being a tank. I didn't have the confidence to do it. I was afraid. And I thought, you know, I'm probably not the only one. Now, I just dove right in. I got the balls, and I did it. And I couldn't be happier. I am so glad that I got back into tanking. I really can't even describe it to you, because it is the most fun, challenging, rewarding role in the game, in my opinion. For me, especially. I have a blast tanking. Now, walking, I have issues with walking. But tanking is fun. And it fits my personality. So I'm not sure if it's for you. It might not be. It's not for everybody. But if you have a tank spec, if you play a class that has a tank spec, if you've ever considered being a tank and just didn't know how or were afraid to start, this video is for you, so continue to watch it. If you're not interested at all in being a tank, then, you know, this video is probably not for you. And walking in a straight line, not very easy for a drunken brewmaster panda. Just saying. So, yeah. He drinks too much. It's a curse. But anyway, so let's talk about tanking. This is all about tanking. I'm going to help alleviate some of that fear that you have built up regarding the responsibilities of being a tank and everything that is intertwined. Now, this is probably going to turn into a series. I don't think I can fit everything I want to into one video, but I'm going to try and get the important stuff out of the way, and I invite you, all of you, any of you, to just try it. Just try it. If even one of you pick up tanking and decide that it's fun, then I feel like I've done my job. Because that shortened some poor DPS's queue by maybe a minute. So, anyway, let's talk about tanking. Okay, probably the biggest thing that you need to be aware of is the mindset of the tank. You have to have confidence. You are the leader of the group. When you queue as a tank, you are accepting that role of leadership. You control the pace of the instance. You control how fast things are pulled, what is CC'd, and it is all on you. It is your job to take your group safely from point A to point B to the last boss and kill it in a timely manner and safely. Key is safely. You don't want to go too fast. You don't need to go too fast. You go as fast as you're comfortable with. You're the leader. Now, that is the hardest part of tanking, is having the guts to take on that responsibility, to take on that role, that mindset, that confidence. And sometimes it takes practice. So it might take you years to get to that point where you're comfortable to blow through an instance like I'm going to at the end of this video. The great thing is you don't have to blow through an instance. You go at your own pace. Whatever you're comfortable with, you're in control. You're the leader. Now, you do have to be aware of a few things. First of all, there is always an asshole who wants to pull too fast, who wants to go, who is going to pull mobs and bosses and wipe your group sometimes. He's out there. Now, he might not be in your group this particular instance. That just means he's with some other poor tank that has to deal with him in some other group. But he's out there, so you have to be aware of that. Now, you also don't want to let that ruin your day. Seriously, who cares? And if you know what, if you're new to tanking, take constructive criticism. That's fine. But don't let people tell you that you suck. And don't take that. That's bullcrap. And if you feel like you suck and people tell you suck, then send me a message on my Facebook and I will help you any way I can, even if that means walking you through an instance with me. Because I want good tanks out there. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. It takes knowing a lot of things, being aware of your surroundings. But again, the goal is you stay alive, you keep your group alive, and you get from point A to point B to that last boss safely and soundly. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about quickly is mechanics. Mechanics. They are important. Some of them will kill you, but there's only a few that you really have to pay attention to. Number 1, taunt swaps. You'll have to taunt swap. It's a big thing in patch 5.4. They want to have 2 tanks. That is their way of making it so you have to have 2 tanks. Taunt swaps. You will get a stacking debuff. You have to swap at some certain stack. It's no big deal. Death mechanics. You want to watch out for those. They are a thing. Stay out of the fire. That is a thing. And either face the boss away or towards the group, depending on what the mechanic is. Now, I am one that is not super hardcore about learning mechanics. Okay, I want to get the general idea. And there is a blog out there, Sunnier. It's called the Quick and Dirty Tank Guide for whatever instance it is. It is fantastic, and I sent him an email letting him know how fantastic it is. He helped me a ton. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to look him up, and I will link that in the description, you can just go to your dungeon journal, and it tells you everything you need to know about a fight. The exact names of the abilities and things to watch out for. So there's a lot of resources out there that you can find that you can use to learn the mechanics. It's not that big of a deal. And once you pull a boss a couple of times, you'll know it. You'll remember it. I still remember mechanics from frickin' BWL. It sticks with you. So that's a thing. The next thing that is extremely important, is learning to play your class. I am not going to go over every little detail of every little class. I can't. I have played them all. I've tagged on all of them, all the way from the beginning on my warrior, to my druid, to my paladin, to my DK, to now my monk. I'm not going to do guides for every single one. I do have the brewmaster guide, and if you're interested, I'll link that at the end of the video. Okay, so one of the big things you need to know is it doesn't matter what class you play. They are all good. They're all viable. They all have their little niche that they're a little bit better or a little bit worse at something than the other tank classes, but they're all absolutely good. They're all fine. The big thing you have to know is how to stay alive, how to play your class, how to maximize your effectiveness as a tank. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not. Go to icyveins.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but they have so much useful information on every single spec in the game from the top echelon of rating guilds and players. They get their stamp of approval on their guides prior to posting them. Not many other guide places out there do anything remotely close to that. So I highly recommend them. They're not 100%, but they will put you on the right track and explain your skills and how to use your cooldowns and that sort of thing to stay alive. And that is your job. Stay alive. If you die to a boss mechanic, most of the time it's not because you're not getting healing. It's because you didn't use a cooldown properly. And that is your responsibility. And it's one of those things you learn. You will learn it. You'll know when you need to do it. So learn your class. And let's move on. Okay, one of the big reasons why I was queuing as a DPS is because I didn't think I had the gear, which is total BS. I had plenty of gear to tank any of the raids that I was attempting. I didn't have the confidence because I thought I didn't have the gear, so I didn't. It's okay. It is so easy to get gear right now in patch 5.4. If you're a fresh 90, that's okay. You go to the Timeless Isle, you spend a few hours farming rare mobs there. That's it, a few hours, and you can completely gear yourself out. Trinkets, rings, necklace, the whole 9 yards, except for a weapon, in hours. Hours, that's it. From greens to a 490 item level in hours. And then you can queue for any raid that you'd like. And you'll get your weapon that way. And that's, you know, you're not going to do as much damage as you could because you don't have a weapon, and that's fine. If you want to start out with 5-man heroics, get a heroic weapon, that's fine. It's good practice no matter what. But gearing is super easy, and yeah, well, it truly has never been easier. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, we've talked mentality, we've talked mechanics, we've talked gearing, and learning to play your class. Now, the very last thing that you need to learn is how to keep threat and positioning. Positioning is a big thing. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can speed up a run significantly just by turning a boss around, by grouping up monsters, mobs, whatever you want to call them, in a more efficient way. And that actually takes practice. It's not one of those things you just do. Well, most people just don't do it. So I'm going to give you the express course. Now, this is things that we'll talk about more in depth later on, but the express course is going to be a thing right now. And actually, how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to do a heroic instance. Okay, we got Scarlet Monastery, so yeah, that kind of sucks. There's not really anything in this instance that requires positioning. Now, you'll learn this stuff as you go, but I'm just going to kind of blow through this instance because it's really, really easy. It's probably one of the easiest instances in the game as far as heroics go. There's just not that much to it. Now, when I say positioning is important, there's a few things that you need to understand. First of all, melee DPS is going to do more damage if they're hitting a target in the back than if it's facing them. Always. They're always going to do more damage that way. So, save yourself the trouble and just turn things around. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you group things up. All tank classes have an AoE threat type mechanic. I don't know if I was silenced there or what, but Rushing Jade Wind is one of my favorites as a brewmaster. We also have Dizzying Haze, that reticle that you can throw out there. But Death Knights have Death and Decay. Warrior tanks have Demoralizing Shout, or whatever it's called now. Paladins, you can glyph to drop your Consecrate with a reticle. There's a lot. All tank classes have something. Druids can just run around and spam swipe. You don't even need a target, I don't believe, anymore. But anyway, so first boss, this is super easy, and now I way overgear this instance, so I can go as fast as I like. There's not very much in here that would kill me unless maybe I pulled the entire instance in one pull. So I don't have to worry too much about if my healer is good, if my DPS is good, and they're fine. I do have to pay attention, however, when adds spawn, and that's part of being a tank. You want to make sure you pick things up. You want to group things up, and you never, ever, ever want anything hitting you from behind. You have to pay close attention to that. You cannot dodge and parry when there's something hitting you in your ass. And that is bad, because dodging and parrying are important mechanics to being a tank. They're important things. So, anyway. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate something here that is what I think this is an extremely important tactic for a tank. Now, what you do, this is called the LOS pull. You get the attention of the mobs. There are casters in these packs. So what you have to do to get them to chase you is to go out of their line of sight. LOS. Now, you're not going to be able to get heals when you do this, so you need to be able to stay alive. If you pull too many, and you're going to die. It can happen. I outgear this instance, so I could pretty much solo most of this. But you get them all stacked up because they follow you. They can't shoot you around a corner, so they have to get close. They have to be able to see you. And it groups them up nicely, and super easy to AoE down like that. That is useful from level 15 on. There's a lot of instances where that'll come in handy. Now, another little thing you may notice is I kind of stay near the casters in these pulls, because the casters don't have to move. The melee have to come to you. So you hit everything once and you're pretty much going to have threat on it, and then you let the damage from your vengeance do the rest. Losing threat is not really a thing. Now, and it doesn't matter what class you are. Most other classes aren't going to be able to do a backflip off of the high dive to pull a boss like that. That's just one of the perks of being a monk. But they all easily keep threat. It's just a matter of getting the first hit. And if not getting the first hit, using your taunt. Because your taunt is going to give you an awful lot of threat. And again, there's really no mechanics in this instance that you have to watch out for. This is just bad luck as far as getting this. But for guide purposes, I want to get this video out to you as quickly as possible. I've been putting it off entirely too long. So that's it. Beware. He was about to do his Blades of Light, which is an instant death mechanic. One of those things you need to watch out for, especially as a tank. You do not want to get one shot. But there are things that'll do it. You just have to be aware of it. Watch out. Be careful. That kind of thing. Now I'm going to do another LOS pull here. These mobs hit a little bit harder, so you have to beware, as DBM would tell you. Actually, I didn't have to LOS. There's no casters in the group, but I am stunning and disorienting, as you may notice, and that just helps reduce some of the damage that I have incoming. Yeah, no big deal. Again, I could solo this instance, I'm sure. Okay, quick clip from Spoils of Pandaria. This is from a Flex raid. Don't usually do these, but for giggles we did, just to practice fights as we progressed. Anyway, the other tank, the DK, this is his first time tanking this, and actually he just started tanking. He went and got his timeless gear. He's got a couple of looking for raid pieces now, and he's new to tanking. So this was a good one for him to practice on, because this is probably the most fun and most complete package of what you have to expect in all of the new raid content. You have complete control. You are the only one opening boxes. You're racing against the clock. You have to know the mechanics of some of them so that you don't let big mobs stand in Healy stuff on the ground and wipe your raid, that kind of thing. But you also have to keep moving. That is key. You got to keep moving, and you have to kite. Kiting is part of tanking sometimes. You don't want things to hit you in from behind. You don't want things attacking your healers, so you just have to be aware. But this is a really fun fight, and you can hear what the other tank says here after we finish it.
Call that a win, gentlemen.
Nice work.
You're right, Death. That is fun to tank.
Damn right I'm right. But anyway, this is another flex. This is
Freddy, can you call
Thok.
Freddy, can you call it the boss?
And he is the epitome of facing away and positioning a boss. If you go behind him, he will nail you with his tail. If you go in front of him, he will eat you. Well,
I'll grab him.
not during this phase, but during the next phase. So you have to be extremely careful with your positioning on a fight like this. Now, he's also a big-ass dinosaur, which you'll have to deal with. There's also a taunt swap, as you saw there. The off-tank taunted, and I ran out of his way, so I would stop getting the debuff. I also had to, had to watch out.
Yeah, that was weird.
Now, you're
Okay,
going to have to
round
pick
base.
up ads in some fights. So you have to be aware of where they're going to come from, have your taunt ready, and then you position them wherever you need to position them. So like I said, positioning is extremely important. It's something that you learn with time. As you learn the boss fights, you learn where to put things, but you always want to have things facing away from your target. Sometimes you want to have them facing to the side of your target. But anyway, so you can watch the rest of this fight. That is all for now. This is episode 1. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. If this has helped you in any way, let me know. If it hasn't, I understand. That's alright. This is some basic stuff. But hopefully you give tanking a try. Hopefully you're not... You're a little less overwhelmed, because there's really not that much to it. It's just a matter of putting a lot of things together and having the guts to take responsibility for your group, make up for the group's shortcomings, and just generally be a badass. This is EATMOPIE. I'll see ya.